Episode 190, Kiss the Beauty. His appearance got the attention of Marita. Who is that man? He looks wealthy and important. Why is he with Monica? Marita could single out the expensive brands on him. It was incompatible to have him match with the shabby Monica. Monica? Who is he? Monica's lips twitched at the corner. She wanted to ignore her, but after glancing coolly at Marita, the man bowed his head to ask, "Do you know each other?" "She's my ex-colleague." "We're friends." Both replied at the same time, but with different answers. Marita raised an awkward smile and asked, "Monica, come and do an introduction." "I'm her man." Before she could open her mouth, Stefan simply mouthed these 3 words. The 2 women were stunned. What did you say? Isn't it so?" Marita clenched her crimson lips in frustration. She felt that she had lost to her in this regard. Somehow, this man seemed too good to be true. How could he be her competitor's man when the latter had nothing to boast about? The elites were particular about the background and status of their partners. For a common folk like Monica, how did she end up with an aristocrat? The longer she pondered, the further she fumed. She was out to show off in front of her, but it seemed her hand got bitten instead. She was extremely unhappy about this, of course. The man gently cuddled Monica's head with his palm and asked, "Have you been taking a fancy to anything here? I'll get it for you." "No," she answered quietly, yet her eyes surreptitiously strayed on a pair of dainty earrings in the display cabinet. The pair was in the shape of a 5-petal flower and looked like a starry embellishment from afar. He followed her gaze to that pair of earrings. His slender finger pointed at the cabinet. "Show me this pair." She opened her mouth in surprise and did not understand the meaning of his action. The salesgirl could not help feeling incredulous as she glanced at Monica. She would have disregarded the request if it had come from the shabby woman. Their shop's jewelry were expensive, and the sales staff was unwilling to show them to ordinary folks. Who would pay if they were broken accidentally? This was especially the case for those who dressed shabbily like Monica and looked as if they could not afford to compensate for the loss. It was different for him, though. She could tell at a glance that he was from a wealthy background. He saw the look in the salesgirl's eyes and knew what was on her mind, but he did not make a comment regarding this. When the salesgirl presented the pair of earrings to him, he reached out for one of the studs and gently brushed away the hair on Monica's shoulder to expose her little, lovely earlobe. He gently put the earring on her, which looked like a sparkling star as it danced on her fair earlobe. This dazzling sight seemed to be calling out to him. Thus, he took action by leaning over and planting a kiss on her earlobe with his breezy, thin lips. Marita stood there, dumbstruck at this beautiful display of affection. Monica's heart skipped a beat from obvious embarrassment. Her body retracted slightly as she glared at him in annoyance. "You!" "Take a look. Do you like it?" He pushed her in front of the mirror and lifted her hair to reveal the earring on her lobe. She said nothing, yet her eyes fully showed her delight. He went on to put the other stud on her. The salesgirl immediately praised, "This lady looks really good in these earrings. Sir, do you want the pair?" "Yes," he answered the salesgirl without removing his sight from Monica even once. He then casually passed over his black gold card for the bill. The salesgirl was still wondering why the man had not asked for the price of the earrings when she took a look at the credit card he had handed to her. There was no more doubts thereafter. Silver card, the king of all cards, signified the unreachable status of its card holder. Across the capital, only 5 people owned this type of card. Even Marita was too stunned for words. She was really taken aback this time. Who was this man exactly? An average wealthy man could not afford such a card. Swiping the card for the bill, the salesgirl passed the gift box to Stefan and watched the man leave with Monica in his arms. Monica! Marita tried to chase the leading pair, but they totally ignored her. She looked utterly embarrassed and returned to the counter to ask the girl, "Is that man holding the legendary silver card?" The salesgirl's mouth twitched a little before replying, "Sorry, madam, I'm not allowed to divulge the personal information of my customer." "How much does that pair of earrings which the man has just bought cost? I want it too." Eager to salvage her reputation, she pompously declared this. "That's the only pair we have at this shop. Still, I can tell you the price. It costs $1,000. $1,000? $1,000 for a pair of earrings? Her face froze. The toy section was on the 5th floor, but he took her to the women's section on the 3rd floor first. Without any delay, he picked a few designer clothes off the rack at the Chanel store. As he sat elegantly on the sofa, he ordered, "Go and change." She asked, "What are you trying to do?" "I'm going to buy you some clothes." She frowned unceremoniously. "I don't want." He would not tolerate her objection. Signaling with his fingers, he got a few sales staff to bring her to the changing room. He grinned devilishly. She was trying to act stubborn with him. She had to know she was on his turf in this mall. Her protest could be heard from the changing room. "All of you, get out! Hey, don't take off my clothes! I'll do it! Can't I change my clothes by myself? Get out!" The salesgirl were eventually chased out from the room. She stepped out in a pink dress not long after. The design made her look young.